So this excerpt caught my attention, but according to NBC Sports, on July 1st, league sources say Kevin Durant was owed and received an eight-figure check from the Nets, one of two massive advance payments that the disgruntled superstar is scheduled to collect from Brooklyn by October 1st, while he's also in the midst of lobbying the team to move him. So, what does this really mean in the scheme of things when it comes to this saga that Kevin Durant has going on with the Nets? Well, so from what I've looked at his salary on Hoops Hype, he's scheduled to make a little bit over 44 million this year. So if he's already received an eight-figure check by now from the Nets, and the next part of his check to be received, well, he's going to receive a second check on October 1st. So that means he was probably paid half of his salary for the upcoming season. So I'm just estimating, I'm going to take a wild guess that the Nets have already given him 22 million out of the 44 million dollars that he's owed. So does this give Kevin Durant more leverage now to force his way out of Brooklyn? Well, that's a good question. I think I think Brooklyn still has the leverage in this situation because I've looked at his contract and he's still under contract until the summer of 2026. So they still have him for 4 more years. So I still think the Nets have the power in this situation, but I think Kevin Durant is going to try to drain them psychologically and just get them to eventually trade him out of just pulling these antics that he's pulling, whether it's saying stuff on Twitter or social media or doing some crazy stuff or threatening to sit out training camp. I think the next thing to watch now in this saga is to see if Kevin Durant will report to training camp. If he's just gonna pull a holdout and not even show up. He's already collected $22 million. It'll be interesting to see how the Nets would combat this if Kevin Durant decides not to show up for training camp, and if Kevin Durant has the guts to sit out the regular season, just like what Ben Simmons did last year with the Sixers. That would be very interesting to see if he pushes it to the next level. I'm going to be bold and say that Kevin Durant will sit out training camp, that he won't report to training camp. I think he's going to pull this stuff because he's already gotten half of his paycheck. Plus, he has his endorsement money, which is probably some ridiculous amount. So he doesn't really need the second half of his check right now. But then again, he could report. Who knows? Maybe he pulls a stunt where he shows up and he gets the second part of his check and then he decides to sit out the rest of training camp. That could possibly happen. But if I'm the Nets, I still try to play the long game with him. If he wants to threaten to sit out the whole entire year, I would actually still dare him to do it. I would still dare Kevin Durant to see if he could sit out the whole entire year and pull a Ben Simmons. I think psychologically that'll be hard for him to do, but maybe he does have the guts to do it. Just I'm not calling it yet if he will sit out all of next year, but I do think he won't report to training camp. So I think the next move is really in the Nets court, the way they approach this. But if they're smart, they shouldn't rush to make any moves. They should just be calm and just wait this out. And the longer they wait it out, the more pressure they can put on Kevin. I think Kevin is a mentally weak person that can be broken. That the longer you sit this out, he's more prone to be more desperate. But the Nets are smart. They don't rush it. Just wait it out. Let him sit out the whole entire year if he wants to pull it. And then next summer, if he threatens to do it again, just tell him, like, hey, we're still going to keep you. Eventually, Kevin will break. That's just my theory about this situation. But we'll see. It's going to be very interesting how this plays out. I think this will also have a future effect on the next CBA. You have to believe that these owners are going to try to put something in there that can limit this stuff from happening because you've already had him pull this out. You've also had Ben Simmons pull this stunt just last year, and before that you had Kawhi Leonard with the Spurs pulling his holdout move in the disguise of a injury allegedly that he had. But But this is now becoming a trend in the NBA, so I think it will have ramifications on the future CBA. So let's see how this plays out. Let me know what you think.